There are moments in life that split your world in two. Moments where everything you thought you knew, everything you believed in, everything you built your life on, becomes a lie. This is the story of one of those moments, and it starts on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon. I came home early from work. My name is Rebecca. I'm 42 years old. I've been married to David for 19 years. We have 2 kids. Emma, my daughter from my first marriage, is 17. And Jake, our son together, is 12. David isn't Emma's biological father. Her real dad left when she was 2, disappeared, never looked back. But David stepped up. He adopted her when she was 5. He chose to be her father. And for 12 years, he was exactly that. Or so I thought. That Tuesday, I left the office at 3 instead of 5. My boss had sent everyone home early because the AC broke and the building was unbearable. I remember feeling grateful, like the universe was giving me a gift. A few extra hours at home. I walked through the front door, expecting an empty house. Jake was at soccer practice. Emma had class until 4. David worked from home, but his office was in the basement, and he usually kept the door closed during calls. The house was quiet. Too quiet. I put my bag down on the kitchen counter, kicked off my heels, and that's when I heard it. A sound. From upstairs. Not loud, not obvious, just a sound that didn't belong. I stood there, frozen, listening. And then I heard it again. A voice. Emma's voice. But she wasn't supposed to be home. My heart started beating faster. Not from fear, not yet, just confusion. I walked toward the stairs. Slowly. Each step felt heavier than the last. I told myself I was being ridiculous, that there was a logical explanation. Maybe she'd skipped last period. Maybe she wasn't feeling well. But then I heard another voice. David's voice. Low, soft, almost tender. And my blood went cold. I reached the top of the stairs. The hallway stretched out in front of me like it was a mile long. Emma's bedroom door was closed. But I could hear them. I could hear them talking. And laughing. Quiet, intimate laughter. The kind of laughter that shouldn't exist between a father and daughter. My hand reached for the doorknob. I don't remember deciding to open it. I just did. And what I saw destroyed me. They were sitting on her bed. Close. Too close. David's arm was around her shoulders. Emma was leaning into him, her head on his chest. His hand was stroking her hair. And they were looking at each other. Not like father and daughter. Like something else. Something wrong. Something that made my stomach turn inside out. They didn't notice me at first. They were too wrapped up in each other. And I just stood there. Frozen. Unable to speak. Unable to breathe. Unable to process what I was seeing. And then Emma looked up. Saw me standing in the doorway. And the expression on her face. It wasn't guilt. It wasn't shame. It was defiance. Like she'd been caught doing something she knew was wrong. But didn't care. David turned. Saw me. And jumped up so fast he nearly fell. Rebecca. But I couldn't hear him. I couldn't hear anything over the sound of my own heartbeat. Over the sound of my world crumbling. What? I whispered. My voice didn't sound like mine. What is this? And neither of them answered. Because there was no answer that could make this okay. If this story is already pulling at something inside you, if you need to know what happens next, subscribe to the channel, because this is just the beginning. The silence that followed my question was deafening. David stood there, his face pale, his mouth opening and closing like he was trying to find words that didn't exist. Emma sat on the bed, arms crossed, looking at me with an expression I'd never seen on her face before. Cold. Distant. Like I was the one who didn't belong. Answer me, I said. My voice was shaking. What is this? What were you doing? David took a step toward me. Rebecca, it's not. Not what? I cut him off. My hands were trembling. Not what it looks like. Because what it looks like is my husband with his arm around my daughter in a way that is completely inappropriate. Emma stood up then. You're overreacting, she said. Her voice was calm, too calm. And that scared me more than anything. Overreacting, I repeated. I felt like I was going insane. Emma, he was. I couldn't even finish the sentence. David stepped between us. Rebecca, please, let me explain. Then explain, I said. I was crying now. Tears streaming down my face without permission. Explain to me why you were in my daughter's room with the door closed. Explain to me why you had your arm around her like what, Mom? Emma's voice was sharp. Cutting. Like he cares about Em. Like he listens to me, like he's actually there for me. I stared at her. What are you talking about? She laughed. But it wasn't a happy laugh. It was bitter. Cruel. You're never here, Mom. You're always at work, always busy, always somewhere else. David's the one who's been here. David's the one who talks to me, who actually gives a damn about what I'm going through. Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. That doesn't explain. We were just talking, David said quickly. Too quickly. She was upset about something at school. I was comforting her, that's all. With your arm around hers. Yes. On her bed. Yes. With the door closed. He didn't answer that. And his silence said everything. I looked at Emma. Really looked at her. And I saw something in her eyes that I'd never seen before. Something that made my skin crawl. She was looking at David the way a woman looks at a man. Not the way a daughter looks at her father. How long? I whispered. How long what? David asked. How long has this been going on? Nothing's going on, he said. But his voice cracked. And I knew he was lying. Get out, I said. Rebecca. Get out of this room, now. He hesitated. He looked at Emma. And that one look, told me everything I needed to know. He wasn't looking at her like a father checking on his child. He was looking at her like he was leaving a lover. He walked past me without another word. And I was left standing there with my daughter. This girl I'd raised. This girl I'd given everything for. Looking at me like I was the enemy. What have you done? I whispered. She didn't answer. Just turned away. And in that moment, I realized I didn't know her at all. And maybe I never had. I walked out of that room feeling like a stranger in my own home. Like everything I thought was real was just a carefully constructed lie. And I had no idea how deep that lie went. But I was about to find out. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them. Sitting on that bed. Too close. Too comfortable. Too familiar. David tried to talk to me. Multiple times. But I couldn't look at him. Couldn't stand to be in the same room. I locked myself in the guest bedroom and stared at the ceiling until the sun came up. My mind was racing, trying to piece together how I'd missed this. How long had it been happening? What exactly was happening? And why hadn't I seen it? The next morning, I called in sick to work. I needed answers. David was in the kitchen when I came downstairs. He looked like he hadn't slept either. Good. We need to talk, I said. He nodded, poured me coffee like it was any other morning. Like our entire marriage wasn't crumbling. We sat at the table, in silence, for what felt like an eternity. Tell me the truth, I finally said. I did. No, you gave me a bullshit excuse. Now tell me the truth. He stared into his coffee. There's nothing to tell, Rebecca. Don't lie to me, David. Not anymore. He looked up then, and I saw something in his eyes I'd never seen before. Guilt. Deep, crushing guilt. It's not what you think. Then what is it? He took a breath. Emma's been going through a lot, with school, with friends, with everything. She needed someone to talk to. She has me. You're never here. His words stung. Because they were true. I worked 60-hour weeks. I traveled for business. I was building my career. I thought I was providing for my family. But maybe I was just running away. So you took my place, I asked. I stepped up when you stepped back. As her father, not as whatever the hell that was yesterday. I am her father. Then why were you looking at her like that? Like what? You know exactly what I mean, David. He stood up, paced the kitchen. She's 17, Rebecca. She's not a child anymore. She's becoming a woman. She needs guidance, support, understanding. From her mother, not from you in her bedroom with the door closed. Nothing happened. Then why do I feel like everything happened? He didn't answer. And in that silence, I made a decision. I walked upstairs to Emma's room. She was getting ready for school. We need to talk, I said. She rolled her eyes. I have class. You're not going anywhere until you tell me what's going on with you and David. She turned to face me, and the look on her face, it was pure hatred. What's going on is that he's the only person in this house who actually cares about me. That's not true. Isn't it? When's the last time you asked me about my life, Mom? When's the last time you actually listened? I tried to think, and came up blank. David listens, she continued. David understands. David is there when I need him. He's your father, Emma. He's supposed to be there for you, but not. Not like that. Like what? Like a boyfriend. The word hung in the air between us. And she didn't deny it. She didn't even flinch. Maybe, she said slowly, I wish he was. My heart stopped. What did you just say? You heard me. Emma, that's wrong. That's so incredibly wrong. Why? Because society says so. Because you say so. Because he's your father. He's not my real father. And there it was. The truth she'd been holding on to. The justification she'd built in her mind. He adopted you, I said quietly. He raised you. He chose you. That makes him your father in every way that matters. Maybe I don't see it that way anymore. I felt like I was falling. Like the ground had disappeared beneath me. Has he touched you? Please comment below and tell me if you've ever felt this kind of betrayal. I read every single comment. Emma's face changed when I asked that question. The defiance flickered. Just for a moment. And I saw something underneath. Fear. No, she said quickly. Too quickly. He would never. But the way she said it, the way her voice wavered, made me wonder if she was trying to convince me. Or herself. I sat down on her bed. The same bed where I'd found them yesterday. And I tried to be calm. Tried to be the mother she needed. Even though I was screaming inside. Emma, I said softly, I need you to be honest with me, completely honest. Has David ever crossed a line with you? She sat down next to me. And for the first time in months, maybe years, she looked like my little girl again. Scared. Confused. Lost. He hasn't, she whispered. But sometimes I wish he would. My blood ran cold. What do you mean? She started crying. Real tears this time. Not manipulation. Just pain. I don't know, Mom. I don't know what's wrong with me. I feel things for him that I shouldn't, and I hate myself for it, but I can't stop. I wanted to hold her, to comfort her, but I couldn't move. How long have you felt this way? I don't know, a year maybe. It started slowly. He'd help me with homework. We'd watch movies together when you were traveling. He'd make me laugh when I was sad. And then one day I looked at him differently. Did you tell him? She nodded. About 6 months ago. 6 months. This had been going on for 6 months. And I had no idea. What did he say when you told him? He said it was normal, that I was confusing fatherly love with romantic feelings, that it would pass. But it didn't. No, it got worse. I took a breath, tried to steady myself. And yesterday, when I found you, we were talking about it, about my feelings. He was trying to help me work through them, that's all. With his arm around you. She looked down. I asked him to hold me. I was crying, he was just being there. I wanted to believe her. Wanted to believe that David was innocent. That he was just being a good father to a confused teenager. But the way he'd looked at her, the way he'd hesitated when I asked him to leave, something wasn't right. I stood up. I need you to stay away from him for a while. What? No, Mom. This isn't a discussion, Emma. You need space. He needs space. We all need space to figure this out. There's nothing to figure out. There's everything to figure out. As she stood up too, face red, tears streaming. You're ruining everything. He's the only person who understands me, and you're going to take him away. He's my husband, Emma. He's not yours. The words came out harsher than I intended, but they needed to be said. She stared at me, and in her eyes, I saw something that broke me. She saw me as competition, not as her mother, as a rival, for my own husband's affection. "Get ready for school," I said quietly. "We'll talk about this later." I walked out before she could respond, before I could break down completely. David was waiting at the bottom of the stairs. "Is she okay?" I looked at him, really looked at him. This man I'd been married to for 19 years. This man I'd trusted with everything. With my life. With my daughter. "Did you know," I asked. "You know what?" "That she has feelings for you." He hesitated. And that hesitation told me everything. "She told me," he finally said, "a few months ago. And you didn't think to mention it to me." I didn't want to embarrass her. She was already struggling. I thought I could handle it, help her through it. By spending time alone with her, by holding her, by letting her think there could ever be anything between you. I never let her think that. Then why does she look at you like she's in love with you? He didn't answer. Couldn't answer. Because we both knew the truth. He'd liked the attention. Maybe not consciously. Maybe not intentionally. But he'd liked it. And he'd let it continue. "I want you to leave," I said. "What?" "Pack a bag, go stay with your brother. I need time to think." "Rebecca, we can work through this." "Can we? Because right now I don't even know who you are." "I'm your husband." "Are you? Because my husband wouldn't have kept this from me. My husband wouldn't have put our daughter in this position." I was trying to help her by making her fall in love with you. The words hung between us. Heavy. Devastating. True. He grabbed his keys. Walked to the door. It stopped. I never meant for any of this to happen. But it did. And he left. And I was alone. In a house that no longer felt like home. With a daughter who hated me. And a marriage that might already be over. If you've ever felt lost in your own life, like everything you knew was a lie, like this, and share it with someone who might need to know they're not alone. The first week without David was the hardest. Not because I missed him, but because Emma did. She stopped talking to me almost completely. Would come home from school, go straight to her room, and wouldn't come out except for dinner. And even then, she'd barely eat. Just pushed food around her plate and stared at nothing. I tried to reach her. Tried to explain that I was doing this for her. For all of us. But she wouldn't listen. In her mind, I was the villain. I was the one keeping her from the person she loved. I started seeing a therapist. Dr. Michelle Chen. She specialized in family trauma. I told her everything. Every detail. Every moment. Every horrible, gut-wrenching feeling. And she listened without judgment. "What you're dealing with," she said in our third session, "is something called genetic sexual attraction. It's rare, but it happens. Usually in cases where a parental figure enters a child's life later or after a period of absence. But David's been in her life since she was 5. Yes, but she hit puberty. Her brain started processing relationships differently. And because David isn't her biological father, those natural barriers that prevent attraction, they might not be as strong. So this is normal. It's not uncommon in step-parent situations, but that doesn't make it okay. And it doesn't mean David handled it correctly. What should he have done? He should have told you immediately. He should have established clear boundaries. He should have recognized that Emma needed professional help, not his personal attention. I knew she was right, but it didn't make it hurt less. Do you think I hesitated? Do you think anything physical happened between them? Dr. Chen looked at me carefully. Do you? I thought about it. Really thought about it. No, I said finally. I don't think David would cross that line, but I think he liked the attention, and I think that's almost worse. Why? Because it means he was emotionally unfaithful with my daughter. Saying it out loud made it real, made it undeniable. I went home that day and did something I probably shouldn't have. I went through Emma's room, looking for, I don't know what. Evidence, proof, something to confirm or deny my worst fears. I found her journal. I know it was wrong to read it. I know it violated her privacy. But I was desperate. And what I read broke me all over again. Pages and pages about David. About how he made her feel. About fantasies she had. About how she wished things were different. How she wished I wasn't in the picture. But nothing about anything physical happening. Just longing. Deep, painful longing. I sat on her floor and cried. For my daughter. For my marriage. For everything we'd lost. That night, I called David. He answered on the first ring. Rebecca, we need to talk, really talk. Okay. Not over the phone. Can you come by tomorrow when Emma's at school? Of course. He showed up at 10 a.m. Looked thinner. Tired. Like he hadn't been sleeping either. We sat in the living room. Coffee untouched between us. I read Emma's journal, I said. He looked up, startled. You. I know it was wrong, but I needed to know. And nothing physical happened, but David, she's in love with you, really, truly in love with you. He closed his eyes. I know. And you let it happen. I didn't mean to. But you did. You knew how she felt and you kept spending time with her. You kept being her shoulder to cry on. You kept feeding it. I thought I was helping. You were helping yourself. You liked that a beautiful 17-year-old girl looked at you like you hung the moon. You liked the attention, the admiration, and you let it go too far. He didn't deny it. Couldn't deny it. I'm sorry, he whispered. Sorry isn't enough. I know. We sat in silence. I want to save our marriage, I finally said. He looked up, hope in his eyes. But I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can forgive this. What do you need from me? The truth, all of it, did you ever have feelings for her beyond fatherly love? This was the question I'd been afraid to ask. The one that could end everything. He took a long time to answer. Too long. I don't know, he finally said. And somehow, that was worse than yes. Subscribe to the channel if this story is resonating with you, because the journey isn't over yet. What do you mean you don't know? My voice was barely above a whisper. David ran his hands through his hair. A gesture I'd seen 1,000 times. Usually when he was stressed. But this time, it felt different. Like he was trying to find words for feelings he didn't understand himself. I mean, I don't know Rebecca, she's my daughter. I love her as my daughter, but when she started looking at me differently, when she started confiding in me about things, when she started needing me, he trailed off. Go on, I said, even though I wasn't sure I wanted to hear it. It felt good to be needed like that, to be seen like that. You and I, we've been distant for a while, you know we have. So this is my fault. No, God, no, that's not what I'm saying. Then what are you saying? I'm saying that when someone looks at you like you're everything, it's intoxicating, even when you know it's wrong, even when you know you should shut it down. There's a part of you that just wants to bask in it for a moment. I felt sick. Did you ever touch her inappropriately? No, never, I swear to you. Did you ever tell her you had feelings for her? No. Did you ever think about her that way? He hesitated again. And that hesitation shattered something inside me that I don't think will ever fully heal. Once, he admitted. Maybe twice, but I immediately felt disgusted with myself. I never acted on it. I would never. I stood up, walked to the window, stared out at our front yard where we'd had countless barbecues, where Emma had learned to ride a bike, where Jake had scored his first soccer goal, where we'd built a life that now felt like it was built on sand. I need you to move out, I said. Not just for a few days, indefinitely. Rebecca, I need space, David, real space, to figure out if I can ever look at you the same way again. What about Emma's? What about hers? She needs therapy, professional therapy, not you. I'm her father. Are you? Because fathers don't think about their daughters that way, not even once. He flinched. That's not fair. Nothing about this is fair, David. Nothing. He left that afternoon. Took more clothes this time. More personal items. Like he knew this might be permanent. When Emma came home and found out he was gone for good, she lost it. Screaming, crying, throwing things. You did this, she yelled at me. You pushed him away. You're ruining everything. Emma, he needs help. You need help. We all need help. I don't need anything except him. That's exactly the problem. She looked at me with pure venom. I hate you. 3 words. 3 simple words. That cut deeper than anything else she could have said. I know, I replied quietly. But someday you'll understand. I'll never understand, and I'll never forgive you. She ran to her room, slammed the door, and I stood alone in the hallway, wondering how everything had fallen apart so completely. The next few months were a blur. Emma started therapy. Reluctantly. Angrily. But she went. Dr. Chen recommended a colleague who specialized in adolescent psychology. Dr. Raymond Torres. I drove Emma to her sessions twice a week. She wouldn't talk to me in the car. Wouldn't even look at me. Just stared out the window with headphones on. Building walls between us that felt impossible to break. David and I started couples counseling. Our therapist, Dr. Patricia Holmes, didn't pull punches. This situation, she said in our first session together, is one of the most complex I've encountered, because there are layers of betrayal here, emotional betrayal, betrayal of trust, betrayal of the parent-child boundary. I never meant, David started. It doesn't matter what you meant, Dr. Holmes interrupted. What matters is what you did, and what you didn't do, You didn't establish boundaries. You didn't protect your daughter from her own confused feelings. And you didn't protect your wife from this devastating breach of trust. He looked destroyed. Good. Can we fix this? I asked. I don't know, Dr. Holmes said honestly. But we can try, if you both want to. Did I want to? That was the question I asked myself every night. Did I want to stay married to a man who had, at minimum, enjoyed the romantic attention of my teenage daughter? Did I want to rebuild trust that had been so thoroughly shattered? Did I want to fight for something that might already be dead? I didn't have answers. Only questions. And pain. So much pain. Leave a comment and let me know. Would you have stayed? Would you have fought for the marriage? Or would you have walked away? 3 months into therapy, something shifted. Emma started talking to me again. Not much. Just small things. Can you pass the salt? I need money for a school trip. What time is dinner? But it was something. Dr. Torres told me she was making progress, beginning to understand that her feelings for David were a manifestation of deeper issues. Abandonment from her biological father. Attachment to the first stable male figure in her life. Confusion about identity and sexuality as she matured. She's young, Dr. Torres said. Her brain is still developing. The part that handles impulse control and long-term thinking won't be fully formed until she's 25. What felt like real love to her was actually a complex psychological response to trauma and attachment. It made sense intellectually, but it didn't make the hurt go away. For any of us. David and I continued our sessions. Slowly, painfully, we started unpacking our marriage. And what we found underneath wasn't pretty. We'd been distant for years, living parallel lives under the same roof. I'd thrown myself into work to avoid dealing with our problems. He'd thrown himself into being a father to avoid facing his failing marriage. And Emma had become the thing we both used to fill the void. For me, she was my purpose when my marriage felt empty. For him, she was validation when I made him feel invisible. Neither of us had meant to put that on her. But we had. And it had created this perfect storm. Do you still love me? I asked David one day. We were sitting in Dr. Holmes' office. Rain streaking down the windows. He didn't answer right away. Didn't give me the automatic, of course. He actually thought about it. I don't know who you are anymore, he finally said. You're not the woman I married, and I'm not the man you married. We've both changed. We've both made mistakes. So do I love you? I love the idea of you, the memory of who we were. But the us we are now, I don't know. It should have hurt more than it did. But somehow, it was honest. And honesty was what we needed. I don't know if I can forgive you, I said. As I know. I don't know if I can ever look at you and Emma together without seeing that day. As I know. I don't know if we can fix this. As I know. We sat in silence. Dr. Holmes didn't push us to fill it. Just let us exist in the truth. What do you want to do? David finally asked. I want to not hurt anymore. And me too. I want Emma to be okay. And me too. And I stopped. Because I didn't know how to finish that sentence. What did I want? Did I want my marriage back? Did I want my old life back? Did I want to pretend none of this ever happened? I want to forgive you, I said quietly. But I don't know how. Maybe you can't, Dr. Holmes said. And maybe that's okay. Maybe forgiveness isn't always possible. Maybe sometimes the best you can do is acceptance. Accept what happened. Accept the pain. Accept that things will never be the same. And decide if you want to build something new from the rubble. Her words sat with me for days. Weeks. Could I build something new with David? Did I even want to? The answer came to me on a random Thursday. I was picking Emma up from therapy. She got in the car. And for the first time in months, she spoke first. Dr. Torres said I should tell you something. I waited. I'm sorry, Mom. I almost crashed the car. What? I'm sorry for everything, for the things I said, for the way I acted, for how I made you feel. Tears were already streaming down my face. Emma, I was so confused and angry, and I blamed you for everything when really I was just messed up. And I know saying sorry doesn't fix it, but I need you to know that I see it now. I see how wrong it all was. I pulled over, put the car in park, and I hugged my daughter for the first time in months. She hugged me back, and we both cried. I love you, I whispered. I love you too, Mom. We're going to get through this. I know. And in that moment, I realized something. I could lose my marriage. That was a possibility I had to accept. But I couldn't lose my daughter. She was my priority. She had always been my priority, even when I'd gotten lost along the way. That night, I called David. I think we should separate, I said. Not divorce, not yet, but separate, really separate. Give each other space to figure out who we are outside of this mess. Okay, he said quietly. I think you're right. Emma and I are going to be okay. She's making progress. Good, that's good. But you and me, I don't know if we're going to be okay. I know. And I need you to be okay with that. I am. We hung up. And I felt not happy, not relieved, but a thing close to peace. For the first time in months. If this story touched you, please share it. Someone out there needs to hear it. A year passed. Slowly. Painfully. But it passed. Emma graduated high school. She decided to take a gap year before college. To travel. To find herself. To heal. I supported her decision, even though it meant she'd be far away. Because she needed distance. From this house. From these memories. From everything that had happened. David and I remained separated. He got his own apartment across town. We were cordial when we had to be. For Jake's sake. For Emma's sake. But the warmth was gone. The intimacy was gone. We were strangers who shared a history. And maybe that was all we'd ever be again. Dr. Holmes helped us navigate co-parenting. How to be in the same room without tension. How to present a united front for the kids. How to let go of the marriage without letting go of the family. It was hard. Harder than anything I'd ever done. But it was necessary. One night, about 14 months after everything fell apart, David called me. Can we talk? He asked. Of course. We met at a coffee shop. Neutral territory. He looked different. Healthier, maybe. like he'd been taking care of himself. "I've been in therapy," he said. "Individual therapy, not just couples." "That's good. I've been working through a lot of things, about myself, about why I let the situation with Emma get as far as it did." I waited. I think he paused. I think I was trying to recapture something. You and I were so distant. I felt invisible in my own marriage. And when Emma started looking at me like I mattered, it filled something I didn't even know was empty. "I understand that," I said. "I do. I was doing the same thing with work, using it to feel important because I didn't feel important at home. We failed each other." "Yeah, we did." A silence. "I don't think we're going to get back together," he said. It wasn't a question. It was a statement. And he was right. "No," I agreed. "I don't think we are. But I want you to know, I'm sorry for all of it, for not being the husband you deserved, for putting Emma in that position, for everything. I'm sorry, too, for checking out, for not seeing what was happening, for letting our marriage deteriorate to the point where this could even happen." We sat there, two people who had once loved each other deeply. Now just two people. "Can we be friends?" he asked. "I don't know, maybe eventually." "Okay. But right now I need to focus on me, on Emma, on healing." "I understand." He paid for the coffee. We walked out together. And at the car, he hugged me. A real hug. Not romantic. Not painful. Just human. "Take care of yourself, Rebecca." "You too, David." And we went our separate ways. Emma left for her gap year trip 2 weeks later. She was going to Southeast Asia. Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia. Places she'd always wanted to see. I drove her to the airport, helped her check her bags, walked her to security. "I'm scared," she admitted. Of traveling. Of everything, of being alone, of not knowing who I am outside of, all of this. "That's exactly why you need to go." She looked at me. My beautiful, complicated, damaged, resilient daughter. "Thank you, Mom." For what? For not giving up on me, even when I gave you every reason to. I pulled her into a hug. "I will never give up on you. Never." "I know, and I'm sorry it took me so long to see that. You were 17 and confused. You have nothing to apologize for." "I do, but I'm working on forgiving myself. Dr. Torres says that's the hardest part." And she's right. Emma pulled back, wiped her eyes. "I should go. Call me when you land." "I will." And Emma. "Yeah." Find yourself, but don't lose yourself. You're stronger than you know. She smiled. A real smile. The first genuine smile I'd seen from her in over a year. And then she was gone. Through security. Into the unknown. And I stood there watching until I couldn't see her anymore. That night, I sat alone in my house. Jake was at a friend's. David was in his apartment. Emma was somewhere over the Pacific. And I was finally, completely alone. With my thoughts. With my pain. With my regrets. But also with hope. Because we'd survived. All of us. We'd been through hell. We'd been broken. We'd been lost. But we were still here. Still fighting. still healing. And maybe that was enough. Maybe that was everything. 2 years have passed since that day. I walked into Emma's room and my world shattered. 2 years of therapy, of tears, of hard conversations, of slowly, painfully rebuilding. Emma came back from her gap year transformed, not fixed, because trauma doesn't just disappear, but lighter, freer. She'd spent time in meditation retreats, volunteered at orphanages, learned tea, surf, fell in love with a backpacker from Australia, had her heart broken, healed, and learned that she was stronger than she thought. She's in college now, studying psychology. She says she wants to help other teenagers who feel lost, who make mistakes, who need someone to tell them they're not broken, just human. I'm proud of her, more than she'll ever know. David and I officially divorced last month. It was amicable, sad but not bitter. We'd both let go of the anger, the blame, the what-ifs. He has a girlfriend now, someone he met at a support group. They seem happy, and I'm genuinely okay with that. Not because I don't care, but because I've learned that sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes people grow apart. Sometimes mistakes are made that can't be unmade. And that's okay. It has to be okay. Because the alternative is staying stuck in pain forever. As for me, I'm dating again. Nothing serious. Just exploring. Learning who I am as a woman. Not as a wife. Not as a mother. Just me. It's terrifying. And liberating. And exactly what I need. Jake is doing well. He was younger when everything happened. Didn't understand all of it. But he felt the tension, the sadness. We've been open with him as much as age appropriate. And he's resilient. Kids are more resilient than we give them credit for. Emma and David have a relationship now. It's different than it was. More boundaried. More healthy. They talk on the phone every few weeks. See each other for holidays. And there's no weirdness. No lingering tension. Just a father and daughter. The way it should have been all along. Dr. Torres says Emma has done remarkable work. That she's processed her trauma. Understands it wasn't love she felt, but a complex psychological response to abandonment and attachment. She still has bad days. Days where she feels shame, guilt, confusion. But they're fewer now. And she's learned to be gentle with herself. I've learned that too. To be gentle with myself. To forgive myself for not seeing what was happening. For being absent. For not being the mother Emma needed when she needed me most. It's taken time. But I'm getting there. People ask me sometimes how I survived it. How I didn't completely fall apart. And honestly, I don't know. Some days I did fall apart. Some days I couldn't get out of bed. Some days I thought the pain would never end. But it did end. Or at least, it changed. Became something I could carry. Something that didn't destroy me. Something that, in a strange way, made me stronger. I don't tell this story often. It's not something I'm proud of. It's not something I like to revisit. But I'm telling it now because I think there are other people out there going through something similar. Other mothers who have discovered betrayals they never imagined. Other families torn apart by secrets and lies and confusion. And I want them to know. You will survive this. It doesn't feel like it now. It feels like the end of the world. Like you'll never be okay again. But you will. Not today. Not tomorrow. But eventually, you'll wake up one morning and the pain won't be the first thing you feel. You'll laugh and it won't feel like betrayal. You'll look at your child and see hope instead of heartbreak. You'll forgive. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. My family will never be what it was. That version of us is gone forever. But we're building something new. Something honest. Something real. And maybe that's better. Maybe that's what we needed all along. I don't have all the answers. I still have questions. I still have doubts. Still have scars that will never fully heal. But I have something I didn't have 2 years ago. A hope. And that's enough. If you've made it to the end of this story, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for not judging. Thank you for being here. If you know someone who needs to hear this, share it with them. If this story helped you, leave a comment and let me know. And if you're going through something similar, you're not alone. You're not broken. You're just human. And that's enough. That's always been enough.